Hey guys, this is JP Fluellen with another episode of the Success Agent Podcast where we interview icon agents from all over the country. And today we have Tim Macy. This guy is a YouTuber. He's a bomb expert. He is a video mogul. And so we're gonna just jump right into it today. I'm excited for today's episode because we're gonna get into some fun stuff. And so go ahead and tell us about yourself, and let's rock and roll.
Thanks for having me on, JP. I am in San Antonio, Texas. I've lived here for about 6 or 7 years now. I got stationed here, and when I was getting out, kind of deciding with my wife what we should do and where we should go. We just kind of grew roots here in San Antonio, Texas, and decided to stay. And then after I got out, I was kind of infatuated with this idea of real estate. Like I think, most people get at some point, and dove into it. No sphere of influence, no family, nothing. We had our first child here in a hospital by ourselves. Like it's definitely been like we've kind of moved out here and started brand new. Which isn't always easy with real estate, right? Because you usually go and call all your cousins and your sphere of influence and all that stuff. We didn't have any sphere of influence. So what happened early on was that I started to build an audience. One, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I started, I was going to networking events. I was shaking hands with as many people as I possibly could every day of the week, to build a network and build a sphere. But what I also found was that these stupid videos I would do would increase the size of that audience, increase the size of that sphere. It would also set me apart, right? Like the first time I'd walk into a networking event, I'd be introducing myself. Hi, I'm Tim. Hi, I'm Tim. I'm a real estate agent. Hi, I'm Tim. I'm a real estate agent. And then I, was doing videos for, I don't know, maybe a year or so. And then you start going to networking events and people say, oh, you're Tim. You're Tim, the real estate agent, right? And that is the giant paradigm shift, and that's the positioning shift that video gave me. And I like to think I'm pretty humble. Like I think a lot of that is not like necessarily like I don't deserve that type of thing. I think I make myself out to maybe look a little better than I am because I am good at like making videos. But using video to stay in front of people and create like a deeper relationship has been super powerful. So in my 4th year at EXP, which is fun because I accidentally joined EXP when we were at like 1,200 agents or something.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was like I was just kind of having a problem with my broker. They were having a lunch at this other place. One of my investment partners was like, hey, we should do it. I'm like, okay, fine. No idea. And then, obviously it's blown up over the last couple of years. But yeah, so I mean, started from nothing, started like selling, hoarder houses and knocking on doors and crawling underneath houses and, just real down and dirty stuff, to now, we list these beautiful renovations. We do these awesome listing videos of these great houses. We have we'll do, I think we did 55 deals last year. We'll do more than that this year. I think we're 25% up from where we were last year. So we're good increase. But I love my business, not necessarily on the production, but how much enjoyment we get out of it. And I think that's the difference that I get with video is that it's fun. Like me making a listing video is fun. Me making a video about the local cookie shop with my daughter and my wife and like we're eating cookie, like it's fun. And then I hear people complain about their clients, right? Like, yeah, man, I got this tough buyer. I got this like video has attracted our people to us and we have awesome clients. And so I think that's the big thing that using video has done for us is it's attracted a great clientele and it's just made our business a lot more fun than a lot of my colleagues that I see that are also running their businesses.
Well, it's funny. You got to look at, real estate and so many people just don't segment out like the different pieces. Like you get into the real estate business and you think all you're going to do is sling houses. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden people are like, oh, you mean I have to be a marketer, and then I got to be a sales guy, and then I got to be a, an inspector, and I got to be a, a
Yeah.
psychologist, and I got to be a counselor, and I got to be all these different pieces. And they're just so overwhelmed and they're not prepared for all this stuff. And so, it's cool that you jumped on video right away, because that's a lot of agents still have not grasped this idea that you got to do video in order to really, really stand out.
Well, I would say too, though, it's like you have to jump. Like when you're a new agent, you have to do everything. You know what I mean? Like I found that driving for dollars, finding vacant houses, and then knocking on the neighbors' doors and finding out what the story was a good way for me to get business. You know why? Because I did it and I closed a deal, right? Like you have to try everything to figure out what works. The only reason we went all in on video was because we did some videos and we said, man, people really like this. People really engage with it. And so, but some people crush open houses, right? And like if open houses are your thing and you find out you're really good at it, then you should go all in on it. And, I think the big thing is people want an instruction sheet, like they're building a cabinet from IKEA, right? Like that's not how it goes. You interview so many people on here. Everybody has their own way of doing this business, and you have to look at it and figure out like what's going to work for you. Like I'm going to talk about a lot of different video stuff, but it may not work for you, and that's fine. The goal is just though to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, and so a lot of our listeners are kind of in that searching mode. They just got licensed, or they've been in the game for a while and just haven't gotten momentum. And so maybe video might be a good avenue for them. So if you were gonna explain to a first time person saying, hey, I want to do video, I think that's gonna be jam. That's what I want to do. So let's start off with kind of what kind of videos. And then,
Sure.
and then what equipment does a person need to kind of get the right?
Yeah, for
YouTube
sure.
look, people want that YouTube look, that whole
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff.
That's good. I don't know who's watching the video of this, but that was a good face, right? That was a good pose. I like it. But so one, I would zoom out even a little bit more, and we should talk about content.
Yeah.
Right, because it doesn't have to be video content. Some of my most successful posts on Facebook are pictures, right? So it doesn't have to be video, but we want to talk about content. And when you're starting out, like you're documenting, right? I mean, it's the Gary Vee thing, right? You just document your process. And, I'm big on doing it authentically. Like I think there's a big fake it till you make it culture in our industry, which I don't like. And I always worry with the content that we're putting out. Like, I hope we're not faking it. You know what I mean? But I would say like when I first started, I was going to the courthouse steps for the auctions, right? And I was networking there, and I'd meet somebody and they would take me over to a house they bought at the auction. And nobody's ever been in this house for like 10 years. And so I would document it. I'd be like, we're about to go in this house. My client just bought it at the auction. Let's see what's inside, right? People loved it. People love that stuff, right? And I'm just documenting what I'm doing. Like it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like, if you like, but the thing is you have to put yourself into those situations. You have to go to the agent that's doing business and say, hey, can you just take me to your next listing? I just want to see like what it's like when you guys prep a listing. And then you get over there when they're doing staging and you're like, hey, this listing's coming on the market this week. This is what we do to get a listing ready. We do the staging, we do this stuff, and you're just walking people through the things that you are learning about, right? Like everybody wants to be the expert about something before they talk about something, which I don't disagree with, but you can be the person learning about something and talking about the fact that you're learning about it. So like 1031 exchange, right? What's a 1031 exchange? Well, you don't have to make a video about how you're the expert about 1031 exchanges. Instead, what you do is you say, hey, I'm Tim, I'm your friend, and I'm going through my real estate journey. And one thing I learned about today is 1031 exchanges. Did you know? Boom, 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 boom. And you start talking about the things that you're learning about. The problem is everybody wants to be an expert before they start making the content. Like make the content showing people that you're becoming the expert is what I would say as far as content goes. On technical stuff, I mean, I've done, well, so we hired a full-time videographer in December, so he's been with us for 4 or 5 months now. Before that, I was doing most of my own production, making most of my own videos. I do a ton with my cell phone, the iPhone 11 with the 3 cameras on it. It's pretty cool. But here's the thing. Going live gives you instant forgiveness from your audience, right? Like if you are going to do a video about how to stage a house, right? And you're going to make a video about it. Well, if you're making a recorded video, it should be a little higher quality, right? You put time into it, you're preparing it and all that other stuff. If you go live while the staging is happening at a listing that's coming up, guess what? People expect it to be shaky. They expect the things you're saying to be off the cuff and not perfect, right? So you get instant forgiveness if you go live. So I always tell people to start out with lives just to kind of practice and get better at it because it doesn't matter. And then as you go, sure, I think you can start, recording some videos, getting into something like iMovie or, I don't work on a PC, but there's tons of programs out there and everybody wants to know what software do I use. And it's like, just Google it, best video editor for beginners. And you're going to get a bunch of options and they all do the same thing, right? You can take clips, you can change the length of them, you can put them in order and put some music. Like that's all you need to do, right? Like, I don't know how many people are like, man, I love your video. It's so cool. It's so amazing. And if you look, like there's not one transition that's anything, right? It's just clips timed to music and they're put in order in an intelligent fashion. And that's all it takes. You don't have to learn how to be some amazing producer to make good content. The biggest part about whether a video is good is going to be you and the thing you're talking about, not the camera, not the mic, not the editing software. It's going to be you and the thing that you're talking about. So get good at that part. Let the editing stuff kind of follow.
Nice. So, and I mean, there's one guy on YouTube. I think he's Video Animal or something like that. He does a lot of this is the latest and greatest equipment.
Yeah. So, Brad McCallum is a guy in Calgary, Alberta, and he does, I think, we have RETV where we have, it's our Facebook group, small plug, RE space TV, only real estate video. It's agents from all sorts of different brokerages. And we're just putting videos in there, getting feedback, getting ideas, all that fun stuff, which I think is important. If you're going to do video, you need to be in some sort of group or ecosystem where you can get feedback for your videos because your videos may suck. You may not know it, right? You need somebody to tell you how, if your videos are good and you need to get ideas. But Brad does these, I think he does the prettiest, sexiest listing videos out of anybody I've seen. And he's learned just about all of it on YouTube, right? Like he's learned what lens is the best lens to put on his Sony A7 III, which is the best camera. And he's learned how to do the different shots and they're amazing. Like you can get a degree from the University of YouTube in how to make videos if you want to put the time in to learn it. So yeah, but going back, it's all about you. It's all about the content that you're talking about, and you can get better. You can make this a fun hobby and get better at the video side. But really, the main thing that needs to get better is you talking on camera and getting better at knowing the content to put on camera.
Right, and I do quite a bit of video myself, and so I understand you gotta get to a point where you don't have everything doesn't have to be scripted, and you can continue to talk and not feel like you're having some sort of schizophrenic conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
So that people can engage in what you're saying and not focus in on the things that you're, not saying, and so
yeah.
It's a really good, it's a skill to have. And that's what's great about, I do this podcast because I'm forcing myself to continue to be better at interviewing and having conversation and being authentic And so, I think we're 47 or 48 episodes in, and, I'm just going to continue to do it so I can build up a good library. And that way there's a good opportunity for people that want to know how to do a easy podcast. Cause my thing is I have 4 kids. I have, my assistant actually works in my basement.
Nice.
And so my office is my basement. So we did a big renovation this last fall and
I love it.
turned my entire
Yeah.
2,500 square foot basement into an office space. And so it's been this crazy journey, but I've committed to doing this because I used to be in a band. I was in a band for 7 years.
Yeah.
And we traveled all over the state, and we gigged almost every other weekend for 9 years. And it just got to a point where I was taking on too much. And so now I can do this podcast right from my house, not have to travel, and we try to do it as very authentic as possible, not really scripted. And that's what makes it fun. And so when you do this kind of stuff, you got to go all in. It's a long-term play,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
so
yeah, go ahead.
On going all in, and it's a long-term play. I think that is huge, especially because when you're new, like you need that deal tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like you need to go out and get a deal today. You need to close deals. You need to feed your family. You need to feed yourself, whatever. And video is not the way. Like it is not the way to do it when you're just starting out. But video is like putting money in what I call a brand equity account. And it's got high interest, right? And you just keep doing videos and you keep putting these videos in your brand equity account. And what I mean by that is every video you do is on there forever, right? And it's in the minds of people. And you just keep doing them. And it's like if you, it's like they taught you when you were a kid, like start saving now and compound interest over time. And, it's like you don't make much and then all of a sudden it shoots up and you're a millionaire, right? It's the same thing. Like I've been doing video for 4 or 5 years now. And now it's like we get agent referrals all the time. We get referrals from people that have seen our stuff all the time. We go into listing appointments. They're like, we love all your videos. And so all that stuff's paying off now. But the reason why I'm so big on new agents doing it is the same reason you're big on people saving earlier, because the compound effect of that over time is huge. And so that's what I would just say, like, don't expect an ROI that you can really calculate, and don't expect to get deals right away. But just know that when you do it, and we're in the game of audience building is really what it is, right? How do we build an audience? And this can relate to anything. I don't care if you're selling cars or selling whatever. Like you just need to build an audience that will call you when they need something. I mean, it's essentially what we're doing. And so focus not on how many deals you're closing because of video. Focus on how good of an audience you're building. And remember, I didn't say how big of an audience you're building. I said how good of an audience are you building? How engaged is your audience? I mean, don't get me wrong. We want a large audience, but I'd rather have a smaller audience that freaking loves me and is super engaged with all my content than some giant audience, like the people that have 1 million followers but get 2 likes on their post, right? Like you want a highly engaged, tight-knit audience, especially our agents that are in like smaller areas. I've got a couple of my colleagues that you have no idea who they are. Like I've gotten some national notoriety from some videos that pop up at conferences and whatnot. But there are agents that are doing it a lot better than I am that nobody knows who they are. But I'll tell you what, in their small town, in their market, everybody knows who they are because they've just been all in on making content and helping out their little community. And they've just taken it over using this type of content approach.
Yeah, I mean, and I've learned that, you want to, when you're in this kind of a space, it's all about recognition first, and then it trickles back to referrals. So it's kind of interesting. Like I went into, this is obviously before COVID-19, I went into a restaurant one time and this guy just kept looking at me and he was just walking by, and then he would come back and he's like, he just look, and then like he knew me. And then he's like, okay, I have to ask, are you JP? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I knew that beard. I knew it, you know? And so it's like, okay. But I was like, but he's not going to be buying a house anytime soon. Like, he's just some young kid that's, you know.
Hey, every 6 years.
Right. So
that's what we're in the game
like,
for,
you know what? Is if you keep doing it, you know, eventually there's going to be like, well, I have to use you because I see you everywhere, you know? And so it's interesting how you see this trend of, okay, well, now I know that it's working. Now you really want to double down, and it gets you excited to do more video and more content, you know?
Well, the other thing too is one of the big reasons why we do it too is legacy, right? It's like my father passed away 3 years ago now. I couldn't find any video of him, right? And that was tough because like I love making videos. I wanted to make this like video, and I wanted footage of him, and I couldn't find any. And now it's like if you go on my YouTube channel, like whenever that day comes, right, where I pass on, my grandkids, my great grandkids, like everybody's going to know what we did, how we did it, what we looked like, and how we sounded, right? And that's the other giant positive benefit that, you know, nobody really thinks about. It's like even if market crashes, everybody uses Zillow to buy and sell houses, real estate agents aren't a thing anymore. Like I have this video library of all of this content that I'll have forever. You know what I mean? And so there's a intrinsic value to that we don't really talk about much.
Right. Yeah. It's you're capturing your life in real time.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I mean, you know, they say that there's more video made per second than there are people in the world. You know, it's like it's you know, and that's what's great, you know, no matter what, it's evergreen. So, you know, but who knows? I mean, one day YouTube might crash.
Don't say that.
I know.
You'll stop banking on that not happening, you know?
I think they have too many, what do they call them? Redundancies or whatever.
Hopefully. I sure hope so.
When crashes, it automatically bounces to the next.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, you know? it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. So, have you ever thought about teaching a class in the world on this stuff?
Dude, I just ranted for an hour last night on Workplace for a Texas group. Yeah, I mean, I teach classes all the time on this stuff. I've done one like in the world, but we're always doing stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. Cool. So if a person was getting started and they wanted to do video, and they wanted to do it at a little bit higher quality, because I know a lot of people now, they're like, I don't want to just go in with cell phone.
iPhone. Yeah, totally get it. So one, there's different buckets of content, right? There's local business stuff, local stuff, right? It doesn't have to be local business. One great video that one of our agents did was just interviewing a teacher that had been teaching at a school for a while. And that went bananas because all of her former students saw it and got to comment on it and whatnot. So there's the local content. There's expert content. This is like, hey, the market's doing this. 10 reasons why you should work with an agent. Like, you know, talking like the 1031 exchange video. There's the like local expert. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to real estate type content. And then the next bucket is like listing videos, right? We're going to do listing videos. So when you look at, I want to set my game up. Listing videos, in my opinion, should always be good, right? We should have a high threshold for a quality of listing videos because it communicates how good we are as agents and how good we are as marketers. So I would say hire somebody to make you a good listing video. I would say though that you want to like get in our group and look at listing videos so you know what you want, because if you get a videographer to do a listing video for you, it's probably going to be boring. It's probably going to have some like cheap violin music in the back and it's going to make people fall asleep. I tell my guy all the time, I'm like, we don't make listing videos, we make bangers, right? Like I want people to watch that listing video and be like, yeah, you know what I mean? And be like, get some energy in that thing. Whereas look, a real estate photographer, most of the agents that, you know, they work with, they want a listing video that's boring because that's what agents think for some reason you're supposed to make. So I would say bring the quality on listing videos. Have examples where you're not making the video, but you're managing the person that's making the video. One, like you said, you want upbeat, you want some energy to it. Two, you want to be in the video. Very important that you're in the video. One, videos with people in them get watched by more people. Your video is going to do better if you're in it. Two, you're spending all this money on marketing a listing that's only going to be on the market for this long, right? You want to make sure that that video markets you because you're going to be in the business for a lot longer. So make sure you're in the video. You're wasting money if you're making listing videos that you're not in. And so, yeah, manage that. Make sure you're in them. And that's where I would spend the money and make better quality stuff. The expert content, I mean, look, I'm sitting here with the green screen behind me. I'm in my daughter's playroom, right? I got this from my office. I hung it up in my office, and I'm sitting here with a webcam, right? Like I can make that expert content. Hey, here's the pros and cons of living in San Antonio. Here are the 10 things you didn't know about San Antonio. Here's all this stuff. Like I can just sit here in front of the camera and make green screen videos about that stuff. I don't even need to leave the house. A lot of good, effective YouTube videos are just somebody talking with pictures. Like
Right.
you just go get pictures and put them up behind you and just talk. And those are successful YouTube videos. So like that type of stuff, I would say, is where you can work on your craft, right? That's where, like on those videos, you can start to get better at it, right? So that's where, again, you get into the editing software. Maybe you YouTube how to do green screen videos. You find the different softwares that can do green screen and that type of stuff. I use Final Cut Pro. I've been using that for a couple of years now. I love it. It's good. But that's a pretty higher end program. And if it's more expensive, it's probably harder to use, right? So you don't want to start out with that. But the two ones that are good, like the top tier ones that are a little harder to use, are Final Cut Pro and Adobe Premiere.
Okay.
So yeah, if you feel comfortable and you want to jump to those, great. Like I said, YouTube University, you can take a lot of great things on there to learn how to use the programs. So I'll dive into those. But I would say have some fun, get better at your craft on those expert videos, and maybe even some of the local business videos. I would also say the same thing there, though. If you're like going to a restaurant and you're saying, hey, we'd like to highlight your restaurant on our channel, then keep in mind that the quality of that video is also conveying the quality of you as an agent. And so you may want to hire out and pay somebody to do that one as well. But the local expert stuff, right? Like the explainer videos, it's a great place to kind of work on your skills.
Awesome. And I saw just a couple of your most recent videos. Was that your videographer doing those?
So it's a mix. Like I did the Some Good News one with the green screen. I did that
was pretty cool.
sitting here with my camera here, and I didn't, I just did it from my living room. I have my drone license. So I do I fly all the drone, and then he usually goes in and shoots the video, and then he'll give me like a rough cut, and then we'll go back and forth on edits, and I'll get like a finished product like 8 drafts later. So that's my process because I'm super picky. But yeah, it's a mix. We have a good mix. Like the family video.
Give you your that film look, the camera you're using.
So that's color. Color is always a thing we go back and forth on. That's like color correction, and depends on like the camera you're using, and then the image from the drone and the image from the camera sometimes look different. So you're trying to correct to make them look smooth, look the same. But honestly, I'm not a camera guy. Like what is a 16 millimeter f 1.4 lens? I don't know, man. When I grab this thing, like I put it on auto, right? And I just put the setting on auto and I go, right? Like I love getting good shots. Like I'm pretty good. My eye visually for that stuff is good, but I'm not a technical guy. Like so I just do everything on auto. If you're really good at like color correcting and whatnot, then yeah, there's like these different settings that you can use to give you like more ability to make the color look better. But I shoot just auto settings for everything.
Nice. Well, cool, man. This has been a I mean, this has been a lot of content in a very short period of time, and we could go on and on and on about this. But if somebody wanted to reach out to you, give you a referral in the San Antonio area, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Man, probably, I don't know, any of them. We keep a pretty good eye on all of our social media stuff. But probably Facebook. I mean, we're really easy to find there. We're pretty easy to find on YouTube too. So if you Google my name and I don't come up, then I'm definitely not doing my job right.
Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate it for you taking the time today. I know you're super busy. Like you said, you had a call right before this, and I'm sure you got many calls to do today. And what's the name of the Facebook group?
It's RETV, RE, and then there's a space TV.
Perfect. All right, Tim. Well, appreciate
Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely. We got to do this again because I'm sure you're going to be a YouTube star here in the next several months. So
we're working on it. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day.